Hey, this is Scott of Cosplay Bonsai, in this second log here for the Nathan Drake harness that I'm making. Cut out 2 pieces to start off. Here is the pattern for that. Pretty simple. You just draw it out on the back, cut it out, scissors or whatever. The way that I will construct it is the 2 pieces are got the back like this. I sew around, leaving an opening, and then I flip it and then finish it off with a second round of sewing. So I'll do that, set up the sewing machine, and see how it works. If it's not very strong, it doesn't feel strong, I'll try to put some interfacing. I've got some needles here that I'm going to pin this up when I sew it, that way it won't shift as much, which is always helpful. What I do, a little tip here, is I count how many needles I use. And I also use a little magnetic thing here that I'll put them on as I go, as I take them off. That way I don't get any little surprises, you know. If you lose the needle, you'll know, you'll have a number. I'm just going to actually write it down just in case. So I'm going to pin this up here. Let's see if I can do one on camera pretty easily. I'll go in the direction, it'll be sewn like this. That way I don't want to put my needle like that, it's just not going to work easily. So I'll just do a few of these, not too many, and try to align it as best I can. Actually surprised how well this fabric is working with the sewing machine. Whoa. In this case, I'll just reverse a little bit because I screwed up there. Stop, reverse this, and then pop up my needle. Like I said, leave an opening. I cut this guy here, if I can remember where the cutter is. And I'll start back over here. I should have started, I didn't start right here, but it'll work fine once I finish this off and then flip it. Like I said, I'm going to reverse once I take this needle out. So I got all my needles accounted for. Now I'll reverse this guy here. So I've got the reversed piece. Of course, with your hole here, you have to fold these over. You sew it. Probably going to put a needle in that just in case. Do that now. If I can get it. Something like that. What I'll do now, sew over all this. Hopefully I'll get a cleaner setup. Actually, it does not look too bad. It is working, but I have to pull on it as I'm going. It does bunch up a little here, but it is pretty strong feeling. Now I'm going to make the bottom pieces that will attach directly to the back piece. Come off these. They'll have a rivet, and also I'll sew them onto this because they're not going to come off. This end will have a buckle. This end will be sewn onto the back. I need 4 pieces. Just going to draw out 4 here. I'll leave a little extra as I'm doing that There's some variation with cutting, so let's draw these guys out. You need 2 pieces per strap. Doesn't have to be perfect. And then I'll cut these guys out and sew them up. Here's the first step for this. I put pins in, and then I sewed around one, leaving this open so I can reverse it. I'll do that, and I'll do it a second time. So I reversed it, I pinned it up, and now I will sew the edges. This is the opening that I pinned up with an extra needle. Attached the 2 pieces to the back piece. I've had quite a bit of trouble with the sewing machine and these small straps, but I got it decent enough. I mentioned the rivets. I'll probably do that last once I read up more on how to do it. I did attach those. It was just squares of sewing. I have one buckle I'm going to sew. Just do a few lines here. Hopefully I'll be able to do it decently. This has to be pretty strong, so I'll try to do 3 or so. Might even lengthen this a little bit before I get started. I'm going to do the front piece, the chest piece. I'll need 4 pieces, so I'll just draw out like this with the pen. Also using some double-sided tape on the pattern so it doesn't shift around. To do 2 of this and then 2 reversed, because it's not a uniform pattern, so that's how I'll do that. Cut this out, and it's the same process as this, with the 2 pieces. Got the 3 pieces cut out for each side of the chest straps. One is got pins in it. I have a piece of interfacing. I'm going to try that out just to make it more rigid for this piece. It's pretty big. And then the 2 other pieces that will eventually be reversed. Got the reverse pattern piece, regular piece. They made up properly like that. I think I will sew all around here and then leave this open. Something to always keep in mind when you're printing stuff: do it properly. If you don't, do a half-assed job, you'll end up getting some bunching fabric, because I was being lazy at the time. So I put pins in how they should be. Got the first piece finished. My sewing skills are pretty lackluster, so there's some bunching and such, but it looks good enough. It is definitely stronger with the interfacing inside. This one, as I mentioned, doesn't have it. It's got some stretch to it, so we'll see how that goes. On this one, at the moment, I'm going to reverse it. Got the 3 layers interfacing, and then the 2 pieces. What I've been using is just a chapstick to help me deal with reversing it. When I get to the long strips, I think I'm going to try a different method. We'll get to that once we finish this. But what I just do here, I get it all inside and then use this to push. Takes a little effort, but I get there. You can use a smaller tip too, but be careful with something small because it might punch right through the fabric. A few things to keep in mind when you're doing the second front piece. You want to sew so you have the nice clean sewing on the top. You're going to reverse it the way that you sew it. So just keep that in mind. Test it out. Make sure using the right side, because I did a little patch of the wrong side right here. You can see. but it'll be fine. The way that I sew this is I keep my finger pressing against the edge here, so it gets most of the fabric through it, and I keep my fingers back here pulling. So I got the 2 chest pieces done and attached to here. Like I mentioned, I'll probably try to do the rivets after everything else is finished. Got the last piece left. It's a super long strap that will attach to the 2 front pieces sewn, and then the back end will be loose. So cut all the pieces out for the 2 long straps. Found some twine. I'm going to use a standard method I've been using, of course, to make these, where the good side is in there. And I'll also take this guy, that's the full length, and it'll be inside like this, and this will be knotted, right? So we're gonna knot that, and hopefully I'll be able to reverse it by pulling this string. Did the first sewing bit on the first strap. As I mentioned, I put some string in here, so hopefully it'll work when I pull it out. String is helping quite a bit, but it's still pretty challenging to get. What I've been doing is holding it like this, pulling on the string, and using a tool to push some of that in. It's been working. Definitely did help. Once I got to the end here, I was able to pull a lot more effectively on each side. That's going quite a bit faster. Running out of time today, but I did finish one of the long straps. I connected it. Still need to add the rivets, but I think it's going to work. We've got the back piece. It loops on itself just like I was planning to. It's got a nice strong connection. There's a lot of good adhesion there, so I think it's going to work. It's not going to slip out, I don't think. Nice and tight. So once I get the second one done, I'll try it out. I'll start planning the add-ons.